Whatever the season, people come to Tower Hill for many different reasons. But almost everyone walks away saying they found the experience refreshing, educational, and above all, beautiful. I suppose this is true because one of the treasures of Tower Hill is that there really is something for everybody. Some people like to read placards about every plant, of which there are hundreds. Others couldn't be bothered with reading and simply want to gaze at the plants, which is perfectly fine. Some people come simply to walk through the woods or to sit on a bench to admire the view towards Mount Wachusett. Some like to observe birds. Others come to eat in our wonderful cafe. But whoever you are, and whatever your interest in nature or plants happens to be, something of the treasure that is Tower Hill will capture your interest. And as a staff, that's what delights us. At the beginning, when we considered the design process of Tower Hill, we didn't look at it in the classic 20th century way. We reached back to much earlier periods, back to the Greco-Roman period, the height of the English 18th century classical style, because this is where the genius of landscape really evolved and blossomed. Since the 18th century, things have become much more controlled by mechanical means and human invention, and less so just on the common sense of dealing with what the Earth gives us, its compass points. When the glacier came through and formed Tower Hill, the result was a perfect north-south axis along the spine of the hill. At the center of the compass of Tower Hill sits the farmhouse, which was originally built in 1718. The farmhouse was moved from the bottom of the hill and placed at the highest point along the spine in 1727. It's worth noting that in the farmhouse conference room, there's a print of Leonardo da Vinci's Vitruvian Man, which symbolizes control or axis points in nature and balance between points. There are a series of axis points which begin at the farmhouse, the center of the compass. The primary axis is to the north of the farmhouse, which is controlled by the back door. This axis goes through the container court, the limonaya, winter garden, the orangery, and straight through the systematic garden, terminating on the forest beyond. When you get to the center of the systematic garden, there is a controlling axis which runs from west to east. And that control point leads you down to the wildlife pond and to the wildlife pavilion. The main axis and control line of the Stoddard Center leads you out the north door and down the center of Pliny's Alley, which ultimately leads you either to the west to the Belvedere with its beautiful view to Mount Wachusett, or to the east to the inner park or our native plant garden. Our recently built entry is connected to another new building, the Limonaya, or Lemon House. The Limonaya houses our camellia collection. We have a wonderful collection of camellias. And also the citrus collection, lemons and oranges, and other extraordinary subtropical plants. An outdoor showpiece from the windows on 3 sides sits our winter garden. Like it or not, winters are very long in New England. They are not 3 months. They're more like 6 months. The winter garden shows people how a landscape can be created that is as beautiful in the dead of winter as it is in the peak of summer. When you step outside, beginning with the ornamental gardens, visitors enjoy a blend of fragrant, colorful plantings located on a fairly level plain of land. When you go immediately to the east of the ornamental gardens, you come to what we call the economic gardens. These gardens include, or will include, fruit, vegetables, nuts, and herbs. If you continue east, you come to what we call our ecologic gardens. These gardens are designed around naturally existing conditions, whether those conditions be dry, moist, sunny, shaded, or rocky. These can be very challenging but very interesting features in a garden. Beyond that is the wonderful undisturbed woodland and wetlands, and that's really the vast majority of the property. The controlled area, whether it be ornamental, economic, or ecologic, as vast as they are small in comparison to what we consider the totally natural areas. One thought I'd like to leave with visitors is that plants provide us with all the food we eat and with all the air we breathe. When you think about that simple statement, you realize just what an enormously important part plants play in our lives. For this reason, it's critical that as human beings, we remain in balance with nature. This idea, perhaps above all, is the greatest lesson of Tower Hill. Enjoy your visit, and please come often.